Not less than 30 people have been killed in the recent attack that engulfed many communities in the Mangu local government area of Plateau State, north-central Nigeria. The confirmation was made by the former member who represented Mangu in the State House of Assembly, Bala Marke. News Central's Chizoba Anionwe, who was in Mangu earlier today, completes this report.
That is how sad the situation is in Mangu local government area of Plateau State.
It is a day after the 24 hours curfew placed on the area by the government of the state. It is unfortunate that houses and other properties are still being set ablaze. Behind me, you can see smoke, thick smoke at that, showing a sign that things are still being touched.
We chose this place for this interview with a former House of Assembly member who represented the affected council because it is considered safe.
I want to call on the security people to add more strength on what they are doing, because the situation at hand is a little bit worrisome, and I believe that God will take control. And I'm watching right now, I'm in Mangu, believing that
It seemed that some youth in the communities defied the curfew placed by the state government to contain the violent attacks. Here is the special advisor to the governor on security matters.
There's no law that is absolute on its own. When you say 24-hour curfew, if somebody is sick, won't you take the person to the hospital? And those guys. So I'm sure those are the kind of movements you must have seen. Some exigencies definitely will be allowed. But I assure you that before you see such movement, the security forces, the commanders on the ground must have assessed the person, they must have profiled them and seen that it was necessary to allow such people to move. So it's not like the curfew is not being enforced, but that there are some emergencies that you have to allow movement to take place.
Journalists were briefed after a security surveillance by officers and men of Operation Safe Haven, the Nigerian police force, and other sister security agencies.
As we can see, the situation in Mangu is getting firmly under control. It's still very fluid up till now, but we're getting a good hold of it. Yesterday we were here and we tried to understand the situation as it were, and we gave some strategies in place which we applied. This morning we also got some slight upheaval within the town, but as at now, everywhere is calm, and we hope that it will remain so. The commanders are fully on the ground. They've taken charge of the whole place. You can see all of them behind me. So everybody is here making sure that the situation doesn't go bad anymore.
As painful as it is, this young lady was just delivered of a baby through a cesarean section 2 days ago. But here she is in the cold with her baby, as the hospital she gave birth in was burnt and her home wasn't spared. While more troops of Operation Safe Haven have been deployed to complement efforts of those on the ground with support from operatives of the Nigerian police force, it is expected that the clashes will be contained soon. In Mangu for News Central, I am Chizoba Anionwe.
Very heartbreaking report there. Videos showing all the damage and the chaos that has been inflicted on the people in Mangu. Meanwhile, several aggrieved groups in Nigeria have called on the government to ensure proper investigation and the speedy prosecution of perpetrators of the Christmas Eve attack of 2023 that left scores of citizens dead in the Mangu area of Plateau State. The coalition, led by leaders from various ethnic groups in the state, made the call in the nation's capital, Abuja, calling for the rehabilitation and the adequate compensation of the victims and survivors of attacks witnessed across the state. And the major question that we're asking is what exactly is being done to secure the lives and the properties of those in Mangu?
Yeah, and there's other, little details here and there why this is such a struggle. I did see response, a bit of response from Nigerians yesterday, but we'll share that. Let's quickly speak with Barrister Dalyop Solomon Mwantiri, is National President of Berom Youth Moulder Association. Good morning, Barrister. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, listener. Good morning, viewers. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Yeah, really heartbreaking seeing what's going on in Plateau State. There's people who, of course, are still trying to find some clarity, as to whether this is religious or it is once again, as they've always termed it, farmers, herders clashes, or, this, once again, attacks by insurgent groups. So can you share some clarity as to what might be going on?
Well, this is quite a delicate situation that one cannot give it a specific definition, because, of course, over time, it is on record that Mangu, Barkiladi Bokos have been subjected to all sorts of banditry, invasions. And of course, it continued even as of the last 3 days to yesterday. But the situation took a different dimension. But for the first time, the Hausa communities that have been peacefully living with the people, with the natives, went and joined the bandits and the Fulani, in invading communities and villages. So the whole thing, turns out to be a kind of a religious invasion, because seeing churches and mosques being razed down, and it unfortunately and devastatingly is that Mangu as a town has been hosting thousands of IDPs, internally displaced persons, from various Mangu and part of Bokos, villages and communities, believing that, these people will be given the adequate protection. And lo and behold, this, militant invaded those localities. And then today, the central area of Mangu, is under fire, which is very, 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 very devastating and appalling.
Okay, we want you to also give us some clarity as to some of the stories that we're hearing that have fueled this. Now, there's one account that says that there was an actual clash between an Okada rider and a Fulani herdsman, rather, and because of that, there was unrest in the afternoon. So people then moved their loved ones to another community in Mangu. Unfortunately, some have said that this was a distraction for the later attacks that happened in the night. So is this position correct? If not, can you please clarify what the true story is?
Well, we've not yet ascertained, there are so many versions to all this narrative. One, the first version we got is that Fulani went and attacked 2 women. So, and then, of course, vigilante rushed to rescue the situation, of course, and then there were another attack by the Hausa, boys, who, against those people who went for the rescue mission. And that's how the whole thing, escalated. So there are so many versions. Of course, there is curfew. We've not yet had time and then opportunity to go, and make on-the-spot assessment. So there are so many versions that one cannot take, one. But of course, it is on record that once Fulani invade villages and communities, later on you will discover that they will go on air, coming up with a press release or press conference that their people have been killed. And now you can see this narrative. Where are they? Where are those their spokespersons? Where are those Fulani groups that will always come, to defend, the bandits and then all the hired mercenaries that have been brought into the state? So it is a situation that one cannot actually, give it a definite definition that this is what is actually happening. But of course, lives have been lost. But the most unfortunate part of it, or the most worrisome part of it, is that the IDPs that have, run from the villages, and communities attacked by these bandits and the Fulani militants, today they have also been subjected to another, round of invasion and act of terrorism. So, the whole thing is very, very worrisome.
Let's talk about also the efforts of security agencies to quell these attacks. I've seen videos online accusing the security agents of protecting the attackers. Of course, these aren't verified claims, but I've seen statements like that also. So what have been the efforts of security agencies to protect lives and property in Plateau State so far? Are they short of equipment? Are they short of hands? Is there any quick response? Is anybody being arrested? Share with us, if you have any information, concerning that.
Well, we must appreciate and then commend the federal government for the deployment of troops to Plateau, particularly Mangu and other places that have been suffering this series of invasions and attacks. And of course, from the information on ground which we have sourced out, especially the one coming from the Khan chairman of Mangu, alleging the collusion of some security personnel, in the killings of some of the native and what have you. So it becomes another worrisome development that security agents that have been deployed to that general area are expected to be diligent, to be professional, and to also be objective in their own operation. But in a situation where security are now giving cover, to the attackers, invading villages and communities, and we had another version saying that, some of the security are denying, saying that, no, those are fake soldiers. Now, you could imagine, if there are fake soldiers, what have they done about it? Have they gone, after them? Have they repelled them? And then now, another narrative is coming that the soldiers are aiding the attackers. And of course, we've said it over time. The general commander and also the commander operation Safe Haven, Major General A.E. Abdul Salam, has been up and doing, has been very objective and patriotic. But it is very unfortunate that some of his personnel on ground are frustrating his effort. And that is why we are calling that such individuals, there should be discreet investigation into the operation of the security, so that those bad acts among them should not only be,
when you say frustrating his efforts, what do you mean?
Of course, the commander has been responding to every distress call. Once you place a call on him, within few minutes, within few seconds, you discover that there is deployment of security. Because as at the day before yesterday, when these attackers were being mobilized from Mahanga, from Josho, from Marit and other places, in broad daylight, moving towards Mangu, I placed a call on the DOC, and immediately he deployed, his personnel that were stationed in Bokos, and also those from Barkiladi local government moved to Mangu, so that they could save the situation. But what is happening on ground is different from possibly the command given to them. And that's why we're commending the officer.
I need you to be clear. Apologies, Barrister. I need you to be clear. When you say they are frustrating his efforts, what are they doing or what are they not doing? What is the reality on ground after they've been dispatched? Share with us what you mean here.
Of course, they've been killing of some of the locals. They've been killing of some of the vigilante people who are trying to defend their territories against invasion. Mangu is known as a native local government. Occupied by Magabul people. Of course, there are other people, there are Yorubas, there are Igbos, there are Hausas, whom these, native inhabitants have hosted them for over time. And then, of course, if that community is being invaded, what is expected of the security is to go and rescue the situation, engage those, bandits and bad elements that are invading those localities. But that's not what we are seeing. We are seeing some of them are compromising by joining force with the attackers, to aid them in, looting, attacking villages, killing locals, and stuff like that. So that is why we are saying that what is happening on ground by some of the personnel is different from what we expect of them based on the command or what to believe that has been given to them. Because once there is a deployment, it is believed that they are going to quell the situation. They are going to stand, on a neutral ground and carry out their diligent and, dispassionate operation. But in a situation where they are gone now killing people, they are gone aiding the attackers, looting and stuff like that. So that is what we are called, they are compromising. So it is one thing to deploy. It's another thing for the people it is another thing to deploy, giving them command. It's another thing for the command to be adhered to.
Okay, there's just, so many gray areas regarding these unfortunate attacks in Plateau State. And we hope that we can hear some positive news. Right now, all we can say is that our hearts go to the people of Plateau. We hope that some form of relief comes to them soon and that the government responds and stops this as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.